Okay, Mars, does it give you a notification if it's recording?
It is recording, yeah.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, welcome to our Sprint 19 review. Our last sprint was the Bob's Burgers sprint, hence the name here. This is our burn down chart over the last 3 weeks. We had a bunch of tickets that ended up being blocked by things out of our control. So that sort of explains some why we didn't make it all the way down. So we're gonna be working on those tickets next sprint. I'll quickly go over a little bit of a traffic overview for the last 3 weeks. So this is BCMI, pretty regular levels of traffic, except for in the beginning here was this, whatever this day was on the 10th was pretty popular. The Sullivan Mine and Wolverine Coal Mine were particularly popular over the last 3 weeks. Oh, and on this day, I forgot, it was a lot of people were accessing the site via email link. So they're direct, like they got an email and it linked them straight to BCMI. For Epic, a little bit lower than usual traffic in the last couple weeks, but Caribou Gold project was popular, and it also had a public comment period going on. So I think that explains this this chunk of traffic here. And this one day on the 18th, a lot of traffic was directed to the site via social media links. And that's the 18th is the day that that project or public comment period ended. So I'm assuming that might be why. For LNG, the map page on the LNG was the most popular, which is awesome because we just updated it. So about 12% of page views hit our map page on the LNG site. And it actually saw, yeah, pretty standard levels of page views. And then NRCED, a little bit more traffic than usual. And I noticed that a lot of not a lot, some referrals were from media outlets. So CBC, the Tyee, and then the West Coast Placer blog directed users to the site. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'd be interested in seeing the links to that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can dig them up, Kyle, or you have access to the site too. But yeah, it wasn't a lot of users, but it was a couple.
That's interesting that it's being linked to from those places.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the articles themselves or in a news release or in the comments.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our goals last sprint, we needed to get 2 more roles in. So we got the Environmental Conservation Officer service role in and the BC Parks role in. This automated import of EMLI inspection data, this is what ended up being blocked because we're still waiting on some permission access from the NRM service desk, which should be resolved shortly. Our third goal was to test the FME process for automatic data imports. We completed this and got a lot of documentation done for the FME process that we're going to try to do for importing data from NRES and from CORES and a couple other systems. And finally, we did some project notification document updates for Epic. And I think we got about halfway done that. So we finished the admin side and now we just need to wrap up the public side. Right, I'm gonna go straight into our demo because we've got 5 different things to demo today. So I'm gonna pass it off to Daniel if you want to demo the tables.
Sure. Let me just share screen. All right, how's that look?
Yeah, it looks good.
Good, all right. Let's go to the certificates. So I spent a lot of the sprint optimizing for performance. So I'm hoping things will be a little more snappy now. See in a couple of these tables. Just run through all of them lightning quick. I've done some improvements with the filters. So if I go say request, and then I'm gonna throw another one in here. It's filtered by EAO. And then let's do Tracy to really filter. So everything is lightning quick now. If I grab this, go to another URL, there you go. You can copy and paste those URLs and it's just that little bit faster. So I've done that for all tables. Another one here, for example, activities and updates, super quick. Now, I've also updated the news, and same thing. It's got its new optimization. Search works too. So if I go certificate, cut down search results. I can do all as well. And if you want to see, or 100, if you want to see 100 of these projects, it'll just load quick. All takes a little bit longer, but it's all there. Oh, geez, there's 900 of them. All projects have been updated as well. So same deal, everything's super quick. And filtering as well has been updated. Let's go poly. There you go. And of course, you can copy and paste those URLs and they should work just like that. Final table I worked on was the documents. Now this one's a little bit slow. I have a plan to make it a lot faster. Haven't gone around to it yet. But they now load upon going to that page. Instead, it was before you'd have to hit something, you have to hit search or do a filter, and then it would do the search. So I've had it so you go to that page, it'll begin the search, and it'll give you a bit of feedback there. So we go back to that. It has a little spinner and disables all the filters so you don't screw around with it while trying to grab stuff from the API, and then unlocks it once all data is in. And then if we filter, things are lightning quick again. But I'm hoping to make it so that when we have no filters at all, it's still super quick. But I'm still figuring out a strategy for that. And we can also search here too. Or there you go. And then also you pass that link to anyone, they should be able to get the exact same search results. Yeah, that's mostly it. I'll be working on project notifications next, and hopefully that'll be done next sprint.
Nice, thanks, Daniel. That is going to resolve a lot of recurring bugs that we have for those tables.
Yeah.
All right, Neil, did you want to show the project notification work?
Yep.
Oh, wow, on it.
Right, so I am going to demo a couple of features I worked on the Epic admin side. So first one is going to be the project notification upload, document upload size increase. In the past, we have limited admins to upload no more than 2 documents per notification. So what happens is if you see 2 documents under project notification, then this upload document button is disabled. So I'm going to demo. Now we have increased to 20 documents per notification. So I'm going to start just by uploading 1 document just to let you see that button is still active after 1 document. Now you see there are 2 documents in this under this notification, and the upload documents button is still here. So now I can continue to keep uploading more. I'm going to upload 5 at a time. So now I should have 7 documents right here, and I'll do it again. And this should give me 12. Do I need to refresh? Not sure what's going on. Yeah, okay, so there are 12 documents under this notification now. And the other thing we have improved on this page is now we have sorting on these columns. In the past, there were no sorting because we only show 2 documents, and so there's not much need to have these column sorts. And also we added a pagination on here. So we only show 10 documents at a time by default, or you could select up to however many you want. And so I'll continue to upload and see what happens. So right now we're at 12 documents. If I upload 5 more, I should have 17. Now you see there are 17 total results. Now what interesting happened now is if I go back to upload documents, you will not let me add all 5 documents because I should only be uploaded 5 more. So if I try to upload 5, I'll say too many files. In the past, this was not the case. So if I have 1 document already, you'll actually still let me upload 2 more documents. And that's not the correct behavior. So we have corrected in this sprint. So if I try to upload 3, you'll let me. I didn't double click it. All right. So there are 3 files, and I hit upload. And now I should have 20 total. And now if you go back to here, you see the upload documents button is gone. So this is just the improvement we have done to the project notification on the admin side this sprint. The other work I've worked on is just a simple report in Metabase. The purpose of this report is to show some project notification summary information to the admin users without having to go into admin side, do a search, and click on the project to see the details of that project notification. It's just a very simple table that shows some relevant information that admins may want to see. Yeah, so that just concludes my demo. Is there any questions? All right.
Thanks, Dion.
Yep.
Mark, do you want to show up the charts? Oh, I see there's a question from Matt. Did you consider leaving the upload document link but graying it out? So I think we had that functionality, but then removed this. In this instance, we've removed it so that they can't do it. So yes, we did consider it.
Okay, this is my window. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Metabase. So this is a bunch of charting and reporting updates. So at this point, if we want to see sort of roll-ups or any sort of nice fancy graphs, we got to log into Metabase. The unfortunate thing is Metabase has its own username and password credentials that aren't tied into either. So unless you're in Metabase, you ain't going to see this stuff. And it's not the greatest from a security perspective anyways. But anyways, moving along, we've come into here, we go to the dashboard, and then a bunch of stuff comes up, and it's, you know, it's cool. So what we did is we pulled for first cut these two charts, records published by issuing agency over the past 365 days, and then records published to NRCED by activity.
Charts, Mark.
Yeah. Oh, not there yet. So now what we've done is we've actually started working on embedding those same charts into NRPTI. So now you're going to find them on the home page. So as soon as you fire up the home page, you've got agency records published in NRCED over the last 365 days, and you've got your different elements for that pie chart or donut chart, and then records of type published to NRCED. And the important thing, I won't show it right now, but if I had just did a bunch of publishing in the back end here, these charts are all real time. So anytime that you come back to this page, it's fetching from the database, generating that report, and spitting it out right away, which is really cool. The other thing that we're looking at with this is the way in which we did it. It's actually quite simple now. So if we want to add more charts or bar charts, line graphs, whatever you want, anything that we want to show for everybody else who's an authenticated user in NRPTI. Doesn't have to be NRCED specific, but any report that you can kind of come up with. We could basically, you know, if Kyle's in there and he's like, I really like this report, let's put it on the front page of NRPTI. That's a really quick and easy task now. Basically, we copy the query that Metabase generates and we stuff it into our database, and this page basically can just pull from that dynamically. Future iterations of this will be able to allow users to pick and choose which graphs they want to show, and customize and that sort of thing, and potentially even self-serve some of that reporting functionality inside of Metabase.
That is incredibly exciting.
Yes, it's this is a fun one to develop. So yeah, I mean, basically behind the scenes, these reports are database values. So it's not, this is not a hard-coded report code. Like, it's literally asking the backend database, hey, can you give me the meta information for this report and this report, and then please go crunch the data and give me the raw data so I can render a chart in real time here. We may even, Daniel came up with a nice to have, which would probably be pretty easy to do, would be to have these things update on an interval, like say every 15 seconds or a minute. If you just sit on the page, you know, you could see in one window as somebody's publishing, these donut charts actually changing and updating, and also in real time. So,
Fun.
and yeah.
Which might be more useful at, you know, 2 in the morning when we're running our daily imports, but as opposed to the rest of the day. But still, that's neat.
Yeah. And that's it. Any questions about that?
I think we should do this for Epic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so portability of this is pretty straightforward. You know, the code bases are obviously pretty in tune with each other, so this would be not a tall order at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Mark. Cam.
You guys hear me? I was having some audio problems earlier. Okay,
yep.
Perfect. Where's the screen? There it is. Okay, so some niceties that were added this sprint. I'm in NRPTI admin right now. We've got the ability to search by record outcome and keyword. So if I do advisory, we get records that have that keyword in the outcome description field here. We also added, if I go down here, we added the ability to search by issuing agency for records that come from OCERS. And I believe that was on the order of 33,000 records that were updated with that ability now. Let's just see. Taking his time. Here we go. Well, it's not working now for some reason. I think maybe my, oh no, this is in test. Let's try this again. There we go. Issuing agency, BC Parks. And then lastly, it's kind of hard to demo, but I'll talk about it a bit because it was an issue we addressed this sprint. And actually, Jess, I think you're saying other teams were having this problem too. It's a time zone issue. Yeah, it's a time zone issue where some of the records that we're importing from other sites like BCOGC and NRIS, when we display those records on our website, the date issued is showing up as a day behind in some cases when compared to the BCOGC or NRIS sites. And we determined that it was an issue where with BCOGC and NRES on those sites, the timestamp when the record is saved doesn't have a time zone associated with the timestamp. So when we're importing those records into our database by default assumes that the time zone for those records is UTC, not PST or PDT, which if it's in BC is probably the time zone they actually were saved in. And then when our site takes that database information and shoots it up, it looks at the time zone that the user, the browser looks at the time zone that the user's in and then applies that time zone offset. So we're getting some records that were between 7 and 8 hours behind. And that's where that day off was coming from. So our solution for now is just to assume that any records that we import from BCOGC or NRES, we assume that they are saved in PST or PDT, depending on the time of year, and apply that offset before we store it in our database. So our database still stores it in UTC, but it's the correct time when it's now uploaded into your browser. And that'll be, I think all the records are showing the correct date now. And that's it for me. Any questions on that?
I've got a question. NRES, what if they change to start doing it properly? Then
I think if they associate, if they put a time zone with it, I don't think that will change what we've implemented now. I think it'll still show the correct date, even if NRES starts associating a time zone with it. Because we're using a library that applies a time zone based on it'll compare the two time zones if the incoming time also has a time zone associated with it. But just since there's no time zone associated with it currently, it assumes it's UTC.
Okay.
But with a time zone, there would be no offset applied and we'd still get the correct date. I'd have to double check that, but I believe that's what would happen.
That sounds good.
I think Core was having that, or MDS was having that discussion as well. It was a hot topic this week. Thanks, Cam. So the last demo is, I'm going to do it. And this is to demonstrate our redaction logic on the admin side. So for NRPTI, we've created all these different roles or user roles so that people at different ministries can come into our system and they can add records, but they don't want to be able to see other agencies' private information. So I'm going to show an example of that. So I've assigned myself the role of agriculture in Keycloak. And then, oh, hold on. If I go into NRPTI, I'm just going to refresh it and make sure I am in that role. Okay, so as a Ministry of Agriculture user, I can only see a couple things on the side here. I'm going to go to the All Records page. And the Ministry of Agriculture agents, so this issuing agency and this role, they do not have the legislative authority to publish names. So if I'm going to add an inspection, say from this issuing agency, it's going to default to Ministry of Agriculture. I'm just going to put that in there so that we know that the name here should be redacted because they don't have the legislative authority to publish names. I'm going to say it's an individual. Date of birth, I'm going to make them an adult. So let's go to there. So I've put somebody's name in here. I can see this as Ministry of Agriculture user. I'm going to save this record. Oh, actually, I'm going to try and publish it to NRCED and save it. And if I go to the list here, you'll see this is the record I just added. So the name should be redacted, not to me because I'm the agriculture user who added it. Now, if I go back to Keycloak, I'm going to take away the Ministry of Agriculture role. I'm going to pretend I'm a new user and I'm with BC Parks. So my role has changed. I'm going to go back to NRPTI. I'm just going to refresh it. And as the BC Parks user, I should only see this one tab here. I go in to the all records page, and you can see here this name, this issue 2, has now been redacted because it's a private, like an individual's name is private for the Ministry of Agriculture and will not be published to NRCED. So me as a BC Parks user, I should not be able to see that name here. So this is applied across all of our roles. So it's only agencies that have the legislative authority to publish their names will other agencies see them within the admin side, and it'll be visible on the public side. But if I'm not supposed to see it, I won't see it. So if I search in here, BC Parks role. So these are a bunch of bogus records that I've added. Since I'm a BC Parks role, I can see everything in here. But if I go Agri role, you can see, I can see the companies because those ones don't need to be redacted, but anything that needs to be redacted is. So yeah, this is being applied across all of our agencies.
And did we test if you search no Joe Schmo,
Oh yeah,
that it for sure doesn't come up?
I didn't, but I'll do it live in a demo.
Scary.
So it does come up, it looks like. So that we just might have to apply that bug fix that we did on NRCED to NRPTI.
Yeah, that's right.
Good call, yeah. But we're one step closer to having these privacy and security issues, or not issues, but requirements in place for the NRPTI side. Any other questions on that?
Just you know, the implementation of roles, like getting this last piece complete on NRCED is actually a much more substantial milestone than it might seem just on the surface, because it actually means that NRCED is now like a fully ready to go platform for development of other websites off of it. If this, like for the whole sector, do another cross-sector website or just a one-off, like if Ministry of Forests and Lands wanted to do their own website like BCMI, then they don't need to do all this work from scratch. They can use NRCED knowing that all privacy, like all the privacy work is done, all the user work is done. They don't have to do that duplication of effort, a duplication of cost. And it results in a true economy of scope in that every website that we add NRCED now decreases the average cost of the whole endeavor, and that's incredible just in and of itself. So it's one small, but it's a giant leap for the whole sector.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kyle. And like just seeing how many roles we have in here, it's important that we keep everybody's private information private. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the presentation. Okay, so I will, just want to mention some of the other work that we completed this last sprint. So I know Morgan, who's not here today, but he did a ton of work using FME to create an FMW file and documented the process for that. So that's, he's using a whole new system that he's never used before to basically be able to share data from some legacy or some older systems in a secure location within government to our system. So we're going to be trying to implement that next sprint. I think we're one of the first teams to do this process, so I think that's going to be pretty exciting if we can make it work. We've also renewed the NRCED URL search via CertBot, so that one's now being renewed. We did a bunch of bug fixes, and Nicole sent out the system usability surveys. So those have been sent out, and I think you're starting to get a ton of responses already from Epic users, so that's exciting.
Yeah, we've had like 76 or something this morning, I think.
Yeah, that's a ton. So we just wanted to share some of the success criteria for NRCED. So we were almost done everything last sprint, so we got a couple more things added here. The only things that we weren't able to complete this sprint is the EMPR inspections. Like I said, that piece of work got blocked. But this is kind of on a scale of all the work we've done over the last couple of months. We've been able to get over 35 different C&E actions that can be published to NRCED now. This last sprint, we onboarded 2 new business areas, so that being the parks role and the conservation officer role. And I noticed that we now are publishing 65,000 records on NRCED. And back in November, when we sort of started this work, it was 57,000. So we've got a lot more records published in NRCED now. The same graph I showed last time didn't change much because of we just did the 2 roles and then we were waiting on the EMLI inspections, but we're almost there. Just 3% left to do on the different CME actions that we've committed to bringing in. The current import methods for the completed imports. So we've got, this has gone up a little bit, the manual role one. And we're going to be working now to increase this automated and decrease the CSV import. So basically taking this import method and putting it or automating it so it's easier. For our next sprint, what we're going to be focusing on is we're going to be automating the imports for the EMLI inspections and the FLINRO inspections that are coming from NRIS. We're trying this in 2 different approaches for several different reasons, but we're going to see how both ways work. And if the FME ends up working better, we might switch to that if it's more sustainable. So that's our first goal. We're also going to be preparing BCMI for more traffic. I think Amy and Harpreet, you guys kind of gave us the heads up that there is a audit report being released. So we're going to prepare the site just in case there's more traffic to it and just get some of the bugs ironed out and things like that. So it's easier for you guys to work in there. And finally, we are going to remove that 10-minute delay on publishing because of the redaction logic. So currently right now, if you publish from NRPTI to any of our sites, there's a 10-minute, on the hour, every 10 minutes, things are updated, but we're going to remove that so it's updated automatically. And finally, I wanted to say thank you to Merzeth for being an awesome Scrum Master for the past 1.5 years. Today is his last sprint review with us. So thank you, Merzeth, and we will really, really miss you.
Thanks, Jess. Yeah, you guys will be missed too. You guys have been an amazing team to work with, and I'm super grateful for that experience. And I look forward to when my TA ends to come back to you guys.
All right, I'm going to end the recording.